Okay, and a big shkoyach to everybody who is studying Maseches Gittin with us. Big shkoyach to everyone, as today we come to the conclusion of Tractate Gittin, and God willing, the same way we had the strength to do the Daf Yomi with Tractate Gittin, so too we will, Hashem Yisbarach will give us the strength to do Kiddushin and the whole Shas many, many, many times. So on the top of Tzadi Amid Aleph, Beis Shammai Omer Mo Yigarish Adam Es Ishto. Beis Shammai says a person is not allowed to divorce his wife. Elam came Matzeh Ba Devar Erva, unless he found something that was a sexual sin, as it states in the pasuk Ki Matzeh Ba Ervas Davar. If he finds Ervas Davar, he finds something of a sexual sin, then he writes for her a bill of divorce. So according to Beis Shammai, the only way you're allowed to divorce your wife is if you find a sexual sin. Beis Hillel says, "Afilu hikdicha tavshilo," even if he burned. Rashi says this means he burns her soup. That's what Rashi says it means, either by burning it through fire or through salt. That's what Rashi's approach. The Meiri explains that it means she doesn't intend to be a homemaker and to create the house properly. So, and then as a result of that, she burns the soup. And Beis Hillel cites the pasuk Ki matzeh ba ervas davar. He says the focus is not on the erva but on the davar. Rabbi Kiva says afilu matzah acharas naim, and even if you find somebody more beautiful than her, he could divorce her, or he should divorce her, as it says, if she does not find favor in his eyes. Commentaries explain, says the Velt. I heard it from Rabbi Rosner in the name of Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky, but I heard it already from my ninth grade teacher, that this is not a reason for divorce, but it's a sign that they need to get divorced. If he is unimpressed with her soup to such a degree that he doesn't love her, or he thinks another woman is better for him, it's a sign that there's something very wrong with the marriage. Tanya Amru Beis Hillel Beis Shammai. So Beis Hillel says to Beis Shammai, why do you say it's only if it finds a sexual sin? It says davar, which means anything. So Amru Beis Shammai, but it says ervas, which means just sexual sin. So Amru Beis Hillel, nemar ervas, or nemar davar. If it said ervas and not davar, ayisi omer mishum erva, teitze mishum davar lo teitze. So Beis Hillel says if it just said erva, not davar, I would say that she leaves for a sexual sin, or not for something less, like burning the soup. Kach nemar davar. Therefore, it says davar. Ilu nemar davar, vo nemar ervas. And if it would say davar, but not ervas, ayisi omer mishum davar tinase la'acher, because of something small like the burning of the soup, she gets divorced, but she could still marry somebody else. Mishum erva, but for a sexual sin, I wouldn't think she could get married to somebody else. Kach nemar ervas. Therefore, it says both. Beis Shammai, hi davar mayav. What does Beis Shammai do with the word davar? Gemara explains, nemar kan davar v'nemar lan davar. It says over here davar, and it says by testimony in general, the word davar. It says al pi shnayim edim or al pi shlosha edim yakum davar. So upon 2 or 3 witnesses, you establish something. So what does that mean? It means you need 2 witnesses. So according to Beis Shammai, a person should not divorce his wife unless he has 2 witnesses to her promiscuity, to her sexual sins. Beis Hillel says, Miksiv erva bidavar. Beis Hillel says it doesn't say that you need a davar about the erva, that you need witnesses for the sexual sins. Beis Shammai miksiv o erva o davar. It doesn't say either erva or davar. It says ervas davar. It's one thing. Beis Hillel miksiv ervas davar. So Beis Hillel says no. That's exactly why it says ervas davar. Because it has two possible meanings. It can mean erva or it can mean davar. Rabbi Kiva says afilu matzah acharas noim, and Rabbi Kiva says even if you find somebody else nicer than her, he should divorce her. But what's the argument? Reish Lakish. They're arguing about a pasuk in the Torah, and it's the teaching of Reish Lakish. Reish Lakish says, and whenever you have the word ki in the Torah, ki mishamesh b'dalad l'shonos. The word ki typically has four possible meanings to it in the Torah, and Rashi here goes through all the different places in the Torah where you have the word ki, and he tells us what it means in each place. Rashi says, "B'makom arba lashonos halo nichtav ki b'Torah." That the word ki in the Torah comes in four different meanings. B'makom im, in place of if, pen, lest, b'makom ella, and b'makom asher, but and when. So, and then Rashi gives all the examples from the Torah to prove this point. But we're not going to go through that very beautiful Rashi right now, but instead we'll go back to the Torah, the Talmud, because there's a verse. So ki mishamesh b'dal l'shonos idil me'eladah, if, perhaps, but, and so that. So or that. So the pasuk says, Vaya emusim sachem ba'inav, she does not find favor in his eyes. Ki matzah ba'ervas davar. Now, what does the word ki here mean in the context of he finds some sexual sin on her? So she doesn't find favor in his eyes. Ki, because because he found the sexual sin on her, and therefore Beis Shammai says only if you find the sexual sin. Kiva savar ki matzah ba'ervas davar means inami matzah ba'ervas davar, if she doesn't find favor in his eyes, or if he finds a sexual sin in her. In either of those cases, he can divorce her. I mean to say, it's possible that she commits a sexual sin and she still finds favor in his eyes. So either way, he should divorce her, if she doesn't find favor or if he finds a sexual sin. Rava. So Papa says to Rava, so let's say he doesn't find a sexual sin, and let's say he doesn't find one of these two reasons, that she didn't burn a soup and didn't find anybody better than her, and then he divorced her, even though he wasn't supposed to. What would be the law there? Do we force him to remarry her? So that's what Rav Papa says to Rava. Amarle, Rava responds, in the case of an ones, if a man sexually assaults a woman, he's not allowed to divorce her. And if he divorces her, we force him to remarry her. But since it says by the ones, you're not allowed to divorce her all the days of your life, kol yamav that all the days of his life he has to remarry her. In that case, the Torah tells us he has to remarry her. But in our case over here, in our case over here, we don't force him to remarry her if he divorced her under these pretenses, or even without this cause. That which he's done, and we don't force him to remarry her. Let's say he makes up in his mind to divorce her, but he hasn't told her yet, and she's still living with him and serving him. Either it means she's intimate with him, or it means that she's attending to his daily needs. What will be the law under those circumstances? So Rava says, Kari alei al tacharesh areacha ra'av hu yoshev levetach itach. As it says in the pasuk in Mishlei, al tacharosh areacha ra'av. Don't think bad about your friend. While he is dwelling, hu yoshev levetach itach. While he's dwelling securely with you. Tanya Rabbi Meir Omer. Just like there are different opinions about food, so there are different ways a person can can treat their wife. There are certain people, there are certain men, koso. There's certain men where if a fly falls into their cup, zarko ve'eno shoteo, and he drinks. There are certain men that if the fly falls into the cup, he throws out the cup completely and he won't drink it. And this is the attribute of Midos Papos ben Yehuda. This is like Papos ben Yehuda, Shaya Noel, Bifnei Ishto. He would lock up his wife, Viyotze, and then he would leave. Meaning to say there are certain people, just like if their fly falls in their food, they throw away everything. So too, there are certain people that take a very, very harsh attitude. And that's Papos ben Yehuda. And Papos ben Yehuda, Rashi tells us, he was the husband of Miriam who braided the hair. Megadla Nashaya. Some Girsas have this as Mary Magdalene. And so, as a result of this, she committed adultery because he treated her with such hatred. And then there's other type of people. So there's other type of people where the fly falls in his cup, and he throws at the fly and he drinks the cup. He moves on. He doesn't have to overreact. This is like the way most people act. She speaks with her brother, her relatives, and he doesn't try to stop her. And that's the proper way to be. And there's a third type where the fly falls in the soup. He sucks it out and eats it. He eats the fly too. And Zuhui Midas Adam Ra, this is the quality of a bad person. Sheroas Ishto Yotze, he sees his wife going out. The Roshel Parua, her head is uncovered. Vitava Bashuk, and she's weaving in the marketplace. Upruma Mishnei Tzadeh, and her hair is uncovered on both sides. V'rochetzes in Bnei Adam, she's washing herself with other men. In Bnei Adam, Sokadaitach means she's washing herself with other men. We're on top of Tzadi on the base. No, Ella b'makom shebnei Adam rochetzin, where other men are bathing. Where people, b'makom shebnei Adam, where other men are, that's where she bathes. And this woman who's acting in this way, the mitzvah min Torah garsha. It's a mitzvah from the Torah to divorce her, as it states, ki matzah ba ervas davar, v'shalcha mibeso. If he finds this, v'shilcha mibeso. If he finds this erva upon her, and he sends her away from his house, and she goes and she's with another man. Hakasav karo acher. The Torah calls this person another to tell you she'ein zeh ben zugo rishon, that this is not the same type of person as the first one. Zeh hotzi Yershami beso. This one kicked out the wickedness from his house. Zeh hichnes risho beso. This one brings in the wickedness into his house. Zacha sheni. If the second one is meritorious, shalcha, he'll send her away, or shalcha, he'll send her away. As it states, the sana ish acharon, and the second man despises her. V'imlav kovarto. If he doesn't send her away, she'll bury him. As it states, oki or musa ish acharon, or when the other man will die. Kidayu b'misa, that he's fitting for death. So this one kicked out wickedness from his house, and this one brought it in. So the Rashi says, well, we'll come back to the Rashi in a second. Shalch Rabbi Yehuda. It says in the pasuk. What it says in the pasuk. It says in the pasuk, "Ube'eches nurecha ayiv god ki sanei shalach." That in the wife of your youth, don't be treacherous, because the one who is despised sends away. So what do we mean with that pasuk? Ki sanei shalach. Rabbi Yehuda says, Im saneisa shalach. If you despise the woman, send her away. Rabbi Yochanan says, no, it means as follows: Sanoi ameshalech. The one who sends her away is despised. V'lo pligi habazug rishon habazug sheni. It's not an argument between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yehuda. Now, one is by the first zug, by the first pair, and one is by the second pair. Meaning to say, by the first pair, God despises the one who sends his wife away. But by the second pair, if you despise her, send her away. By the second couple. So we'll go back to the pasuk a little bit above. It says, if she's hated before God, send her away. Meaning to say, the pasuk says, Rashi says, "Im snui with makom shalach k'bei shamai." That's like Beis Shammai. But then Rashi says there's another girsa sanoya mishaleach, that the one who sends her away is hated. Vizu shamati sanoya mishaleach of makom. The one who sends her away is hated before God. Vafilu Beis Hillel. Even according to Beis Hillel, hidu kafinon shalo lahotzi. So even according to Beis Hillel, who says, granted, we don't force him to send her away, but still, miu sanoihu. If he decides to divorce his wife, he's despised by God. So the first couple is Ashes Neurim. This is the wife of his youth. Uvamish Kra, and that's what the verse is referring to when it says he's hated. Yosef Asrai, Ashes Neurecha, V'ksiv Umishmartem Beruchachem, Ube'ashes Neurecha Al Yivgod. Dama Rebbe Lazar, as Rebbe Lazar said, Kol Megarish Ishto Rishona Fil Mizbeach Morin Olev Demos. Lazar said somebody who divorces his first wife, even the altar is going to cry. And it says in the pasuk, Bezot Shenis Tasu Kasos Timas Mizbach Hashem Bechiva Anaka Me'ein Od Penot Ela Mizbeach. So this is the second time what you should do is Zot Shenit Tasu, cover up Kasot Timas Mizbeach Hashem. The tears cover up the altar of God. And crying, no longer turning to the Mizbeach. Doesn't no longer takes the offering from your hand. What did you do wrong? Because Hashem is testifying about you, between you and your wife of your youth. You were treacherous to her. She's your friend and the wife of your covenant. So Rebbe Lazar is saying that the altar is covered in tears itself because the husband is treacherous towards the wife of his youth. She was his first wife, and he divorced her without finding a proper cause, but just because of hatred. So we're going to make a siyum on this, God willing, tomorrow morning at 8:15. We're going to make it at the Berman Academy with the kids from Mosheva Machal who are doing the Daf Yomi as part of they were inspired by our yeshiva to do Daf Yomi, and so we're going to join with them. And now we'll go on and start Maseches Kedushin.